My name is Javier Ruiz. I entered the hospital parking lot at 6:47 in the morning, with December frost still clinging to the windshield. As a trauma surgeon at the Clinical Hospital of Barcelona, early morning shifts had become second nature after 12 years of service. I grabbed my thermos of black coffee, the good kind, the one my son Pablo had learned to prepare exactly as I liked it, and headed toward the staff entrance. My phone vibrated. It was a message from my son. "Good luck with the surgeries today, Dad. Don't forget that when you get home, we're going to assemble the treehouse structure." I smiled and replied quickly, "I wouldn't miss it for the world, champ. I love you." Pablo had turned 9 last month, and lately I'd noticed a change in him. He was quieter when we were with Laura's family, more withdrawn during our Sunday dinners at the Vargas Chalet. Laura, my wife, insisted it was just a phase, that her nephew Alex was just helping Pablo toughen up. But I was a quiet kid myself once, and I recognized the signs of something deeper. The morning flew by between rounds and a particularly complex surgery on a motorcycle accident victim. At noon, I was reviewing charts in my office when the phone rang. It was Dr. Elena Torres, head of pediatrics and one of my best friends at the hospital. "Javier, do you have time for lunch? I need to talk to you about something." We met in the cafeteria. Elena's expression was serious, professional, but her eyes reflected a concern that went beyond colleague courtesy. "I saw Pablo in the waiting room last week," she said, stirring her soup without tasting it. "Laura brought him for a routine checkup. Javier, he had bruises on his upper arms." I gripped the fork tightly. "What kind of bruises?" "Finger marks, 4 on each arm. They're completely consistent with someone grabbing him hard, an adult." Elena leaned forward. I documented it, but Laura's explanation was plausible enough that I couldn't go further without more evidence. "I'm telling you this as a friend, Javier, not as an official report yet. But if I see Pablo with similar marks again, I'll have to intervene." My mind was already racing at 1,000 miles an hour. "Thanks for telling me." That afternoon, I watched my son more closely while we worked on the treehouse. Pablo was enthusiastic about the project. He was himself again when we were alone. But when Laura called us for dinner and mentioned that her sister Marta was coming with Alex, I saw Pablo's shoulders tense. His smile faded instantly. Over the next 2 weeks, I started documenting everything. I noticed how Pablo avoided family gatherings, how he came home much more subdued after spending the day with the Vargases. When I suggested we skip next Sunday's dinner, Laura exploded. "What's wrong with you?" she snapped, dropping the laundry basket on the counter. "They're my family, Javier. Pablo needs to spend time with his cousins. You're becoming paranoid." "I'm being observant," I replied calmly. "Pablo seems uncomfortable with them." "That's ridiculous. Marta adores him. My parents adore him. You're creating problems where there are none." Laura's face hardened. "I'm tired of you trying to isolate us from my family. It's controlling behavior." I recognized the tactic, turning my concern into an accusation against me. I'd seen it before. There were little things I'd let slide for years, but this was about Pablo. "I'm not isolating anyone. I'm protecting our son." "From what? From the people who love him?" she yelled. "You're the one who's never here, Javier, always at the hospital or conferences. You don't even know what's going on in this house anymore." The argument ended with Laura storming out of the room. I found Pablo sitting on the stairs. He'd heard everything. "I'm fine, Dad," he said softly. "I can handle it." I sat next to him and put my arm around his shoulders. "You shouldn't have to handle anything, son. Can you tell me what happens at Grandma and Grandpa Vargas's house?" Pablo was silent for a long time. "Alex says I'm a wimp because I don't like soccer. He insults me sometimes."
Aunt Marta laughs. "Has anyone hurt you physically there?" Pablo looked at his hands. "Mom says I'm too sensitive, that they're just joking." I felt an icy chill in my chest. "Pablo, look at me. It's not okay for anyone to hurt you or make you feel bad about yourself. Never. My son nodded, but I saw the confusion in his eyes. The conflict between what his mother said and what his father said. The conference invitation arrived in early December, 3 days in Chicago presenting trauma response protocols. Normally, I'd reject anything that took me away from home at Christmas, but Laura had insisted a lot. "It's good for your career," she said. "Besides, Pablo and I already have plans with my family for those days. My parents want us to stay at their house, make Christmas sweets, and prepare everything." Something about her insistence bothered me, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I agreed and booked the flight for December 22nd. The conference hotel was nice, but I spent most of the time thinking about Pablo. We'd done a couple of video calls and he seemed okay, though a bit subdued. Laura was curt, barely speaking to me. On December 23rd, my presentation went perfectly. I was at the hotel bar chatting with other doctors when my phone vibrated. It was a message from Lucas Martin, my next-door neighbor. "Javier, I need you to call me. It's about Pablo. I have a video." My blood ran cold. I stepped out into the Chicago night chill and called immediately. "Lucas, what's going on?" "Look," I hesitated whether to send this or not. Lucas's voice sounded tense. "I heard screams in your yard a while ago. I looked out the window and, Javier, I recorded it because I thought you might need evidence. I'm sending it to you right now. I'm so sorry." The video file arrived. My hands were shaking as I hit play. The recording was from Lucas's second-floor window, pointing directly at my backyard. It was raining, and the timestamp said 4:37 p.m., less than 2 hours ago. Pablo was in the center of the garden, soaked, his small body shivering from the cold. Around him were 7 people: Laura, her sister Marta, her parents Antonio and Rosa Vargas, and 3 others I recognized as Laura's brother Diego, his wife Carla, and Marta's husband Victor. As I watched, paralyzed, Antonio stepped forward and slapped Pablo across the face. The sound was audible even through the rain and glass. "That's for disrespecting your mother," Antonio's voice said. Then Rosa stepped in. Another slap, even harder. "That's for being ungrateful." One by one, they all took turns. Marta hit him twice. Diego pushed him to the ground before hitting him. Carla gave him a blow that snapped Pablo's head sharply. Victor grabbed his arm so hard that my son screamed in pain. And despite it all, Pablo didn't run. He stood there, enduring, tears mixing with the rain on his face. Laura was the last. She approached Pablo, who looked at her with an expression that broke my soul, the hope that she would stop it. Instead, she slapped him harder than the others and grabbed him by his soaked shirt. "You've embarrassed me in front of my family," she hissed, crying like a baby because Alex was playing a bit rough. "You're pathetic." She pushed Pablo toward the back door, but instead of letting him in, she closed the door and locked it. Pablo tried to turn the knob, confused. "You'll stay out there until you learn respect," Laura said through the glass. "Maybe the cold will make you more of a man." In a corner of the frame, on the covered porch, Alex was watching. He was laughing, pointing at Pablo and mimicking crying. The video ended. I watched it again, and a third time, my hands no longer shaking, they were steady. I felt an absolute calculating coldness take over me. I called Lucas. How long was he outside? I called the police after 10 minutes. I gave an anonymous tip about a minor in danger. They arrived about 20 minutes after the video ended. By then, Laura had let him in. She told the officers it was a misunderstanding, that Pablo had been locked out by accident. They believed her, especially with the whole family backing her story. "Where's Pablo now?" "I saw them load up and leave an hour ago. A big car, full of people, heading to the Vargas Chalet. I was already searching for flights on my phone. Lucas, I need you to do something for me. Make copies of that video, put them on a USB drive, upload it to a secure cloud, email it to yourself."
"Do it now." "It's already done, Javier. What are you gonna do?" "I'm coming home. I found a flight leaving in 3 hours. I'm buying 2 tickets, one for me and one for someone who's gonna make sure those people never touch my son again." I hung up and searched my contacts for a name I hadn't called in 8 years. My finger hesitated a second before dialing. The phone rang twice before a woman's voice answered. "Javier, it's been a while." "Sofia," I said, "I need your help. It's about my son." Sofia Lopez had been my mentor during residency, but she left medicine after 15 years to become a family lawyer specializing in child defense. She had a reputation for being relentless in custody and abuse cases. "Tell me everything," Sofia said, instantly switching to professional mode. I sent her the video while I talked, explaining the bruises, Elena's doubts, Laura's psychological harassment, everything. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Javier, this is prosecutable abuse. There are multiple aggressors, premeditation, and a clearly endangered minor victim. I can have emergency custody papers ready tonight. You can fly to Barcelona tomorrow morning. I'll be on the first flight." "Perfect," Sofia said. "Javier, we're going to do this right. We're going to document everything, build an airtight case, and I'm going to make sure every person in that video pays for what they've done to your son." "And Laura?" she asked. "She's your wife." My voice sounded flat, emotionless, the same way it does in a complicated surgery where I can't afford to feel anything. She stopped being my wife the moment she laid hands on our son. Now she's just another defendant. The flight back to Barcelona was the longest of my life. Crossing the Atlantic, I didn't sleep. I spent the time reviewing the video over and over, analyzing every hit, every gesture of contempt. As a surgeon, I'm used to seeing broken bodies, but seeing my son's soul battered by those who should protect him caused a physical nausea no medicine could calm. I landed at El Prat at 8:30 a.m. Sofia was waiting at arrivals with a folder full of documents and a steaming coffee. "I've spoken with a contact at the duty court," Sofia said without preamble as we walked to the parking lot. "We have a temporary restraining order and immediate precautionary custody based on the video evidence. But for it to be final, we need a forensic doctor to evaluate Pablo today." "I can't," I started to say, but she cut me off. "No, Javier, you're the father and emotionally involved. We need total objectivity. I've summoned Elena to the hospital. She'll do the official report." We went straight to the Vargas Chalet in the outskirts, in a luxury development. Upon arrival, I saw Laura's car in the driveway. My heart was pounding, but my mind was cold. I knocked on the door. It was Antonio, my father-in-law, who opened it. He was wearing a silk robe and a smug smile that vanished when he saw me. Behind me, 2 civil guard officers that Sofia had coordinated beforehand became visible. "Javier, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the United States," he stammered. "I'm here for my son," I said, entering the house without waiting for an invitation. Laura came down the stairs, followed by Marta and Diego. They all had that post-Christmas celebration hangover look. When she saw the civil guards, her face paled. "Javier, what is this? Have you gone mad?" Laura shouted, trying to regain her dominant tone. "You're interrupting a family breakfast." "The theater's over, Laura," I said, showing her the video frame where she gave Pablo the last slap. "I know everything. I've seen everything." The silence that followed was absolute. Marta tried to say something about family discipline, but Sofia intervened with a voice of steel. "I'm Sofia Lopez, Javier Ruiz's lawyer. I have a court order here. Pablo Ruiz leaves this house right now with his father. Additionally, everyone present in this room, except the staff, is summoned to testify for an alleged child abuse crime with aggravating factors of hate and superiority." "He's my son!" Laura shrieked.
"You can't take him. He's not just your son anymore, Laura," I replied. "He's a victim, and you're his aggressor." At that moment, Pablo appeared at the top of the stairs. He had a swollen eye and moved with difficulty. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears, but he didn't cry out. He came down the stairs slowly and ran to me. I lifted him into my arms, ignoring the pain in my back, and held him tight against my chest. "I'm here now, Pablo. It's over. No one's going to touch you again." "I'm sorry, Dad," he whispered in my ear. I tried to be strong. "You're the strongest kid I know," I answered, my voice breaking for the first time. Let's get out of here." We left the house while the Vargas shouted insults and threats. Laura tried to follow us to the car, but one of the civil guards stopped her. "Ma'am, if you take one more step, I'll have to proceed with your arrest for obstruction of justice. Stay away from the vehicle." I took Pablo straight to the hospital. Elena was waiting in a private pediatrics room. The exam was heartbreaking. It wasn't just the bruises from the video. Pablo had old marks on his back and thighs. "They're belt marks, Javier," Elena said with a voice trembling with rage. "They're at least a week old. This has been going on for a long time under the radar." Pablo, sitting on the exam table in a hospital gown, looked at us. "Aunt Marta said if I told anyone, they'd say I made it up because I'm crazy. And Mom said you'd abandon us if you knew I was a problem child." I knelt before him and took his hands. "Listen to me, Pablo. None of this is your fault. Nothing. And I would never, ever abandon you. I'm going to make sure those people can't even say your name without feeling fear." The following weeks were a relentless legal battle. Laura and the Vargas hired an expensive lawyer who tried to discredit the video, saying it was a family tradition of corrective discipline and that I was an absent father. But Sofia was smarter. We didn't just use Lucas's video. We investigated the Vargas family bank accounts. It turned out Antonio and Diego were diverting funds from their construction company, and Laura was using some of our joint money to cover those holes in exchange for her family's support. The scandal exploded in the local press. Prestigious family of entrepreneurs and their daughter implicated in child abuse network. The pressure was such that Antonio's partners expelled him from the board. Diego's company went into bankruptcy proceedings weeks later. In the custody trial, Elena's testimony and Lucas's video were decisive. The judge not only granted me full and exclusive custody, but also revoked Laura's any right to unsupervised visits only after she completed 2 years of mandatory psychiatric therapy. Marta, Diego, and the others received suspended prison sentences, but lost their jobs and social status in Barcelona. They became pariahs. It's been 6 months. Life in Barcelona has taken a different turn. Pablo and I moved to an apartment closer to Park Güell, far from the house that reminded me so much of Laura's betrayal. Today is Saturday. I was sitting in the kitchen, savoring my coffee, while watching Pablo concentrated on the blueprint of a new model airplane. There was no trace of bruises on his arms, and that constant, cornered fear had disappeared from his eyes. "Dad?" he called without looking up from the paper. "They're really not coming back?" I approached and put a hand on his shoulder. "Really, Pablo. The judge has forbidden them even from approaching your school, and if any of them tries to call, the police and Sofia will know instantly." I didn't tell him that the powerful Vargases are barely making ends meet now. Antonio lost his stake in the construction company, and his outskirts chalet has gone to auction to cover debts and court costs.
Marta and Victor moved to another city because after Lucas's video, no one in their social circle wanted to be seen with them. Laura, she sent letters full of remorse that Sofia attached to the file without even showing them to me. For them, it was the collapse of their little empire of arrogance. For us, simply the start of a quiet life. "What are you thinking about?" Pablo asked, looking at me. I smiled and ruffled his hair. "About how lucky I am to have a son like you, and that from now on we'll always be a team where no one lets the other get hurt." We finished the juice, grabbed our backpacks, and went out to the street. The Barcelona sun was shining brightly, and we had a whole day ahead just for us. A day free of fears, full of peace, and with the certainty that justice is not just a word in legal manuals, but a real force when you're willing to fight for it. Thanks for listening to my story until the end. If it resonated with you, give it a like. Write in the comments what touched you the most, and don't forget to say where you're from. Subscribe to the channel. Many more stories are coming.